morning guys, I hope we're all doing very well. As always, welcome back to another video. Now, today is actually going to be our last day in Dubai. We are having to leave essentially. Welcome back to another video. Welcome back to the last and final session here in the dungeon. We're moving on to the next adventure, and it's definitely something that I am very grateful for. I'm buzzing for. I cannot wait for. But first of all, we've got to hit shoulder focused shoulder and chest session, because it's technically not a push session because we've not got any tricep work in there. But what I've been doing recently is at the kind of back end of my chest sessions putting shoulders in, at the back of my shoulder sessions putting chest in, just because they are both lagging areas, and this is allowing me to hit them a little bit more often. I'm recovering very well, and that just makes things makes things 10 times better. So if you guys have a lagging area, ensure that unless you have a coach, then obviously they will be programming your training. But if you don't and you have a lagging area, or what you potentially think is a lagging area, you will most definitely find that you will probably be able to recover from a good bit more volume. So again, at the same time, never be afraid to place more volume in off that lagging area to ensure that you are giving it the attention that it needs, because at the end of the day, just maybe training it 4 times per month might not be enough. Okay. Imagine if the bench was fixed into the Smith machine and all you had to do was either move it up and down to your angle, or potentially move it a tiny bit to the left or a tiny bit to the right. Because I feel as if I spend at least 15 minutes of my session trying to just make sure the bench is correctly in line to either shoulder press, chest press, whatever, and it frustrates me, because it's like you could literally be here and you could need to move it like here, and but then you could sit on it and it could be wrong. That's what I'm talking about. So maybe like this is it. Now whenever you see me Smith machine pressing, especially above the head, I'm really making a cautious effort to not go like this and press like that. I'm making a cautious effort to keep my elbows in and press like this. So essentially, by the end I'll get a little bit of indirect stimulus on the chest. Mostly staying on my front delts, which is all that matters really on something like this. But because I ran into a little bit of an issue with pain here, which I think was potentially coming from my bicep, but it was giving me jip here and of course throughout my delt whenever I was pressing, it just got to the point where I was spending too much time pressing like this instead of like this. And now, since I've started pressing like this, even with a barbell up to upwards of 130 kilograms, I felt so secure and so safe, and there's been no pain whatsoever. So now I would like to stay like that for as long as possible. So we'll keep elbows tucked as much as possible in here, which just means that I will take it as heavy as I can until I feel my elbows starting to flare. I have never been so fucking excited just to get back on a Smith machine, and especially the fact that we've found a Cybex Smith, it makes it 10 times better.
Good. Good. Nice. Let's see it.
This is something else, guys. Auto-regulating end sessions. So I feel as if this has been a massive determining factor of how far I've been able to progress and how strong I've been able to get, because I'm always working on what I'm capable of doing on that given day. Now, a lot of people veer away from this because they are very much into logbooking, which is totally cool, and we can't argue with the fact that logbooking definitely does work for progressive overload. But at the same time, we have to then take on board, you are going to come in and feel different on different days. There's going to be so many more circumstances that's going to determine how you feel whenever you come into the gym. And it's really important, I feel, on them given days that you come in and you don't use the logbook as a target, you use it as a reference only of exercise selection, potentially where you might fall. So if you've randomly somehow forgot what weights you were doing on specific movements, for a reference of knowing where you are. And it's something else to take on board when you're deep into a prep and deep into a diet phase, to be able to actually come into the gym and auto-regulate when you need to. And I promise you, I think you will definitely find, I know 100% you'll find that the people at the very top end of bodybuilding in general, inside the UK and outside the UK, will most definitely have auto-regulated at some point, in which when they come into the gym, they go by how they feel and what they're capable of doing on that day, and not what their logbook says, because that's where you get tangled up, and that is where you then allow you to come into the gym, not hit your logbook numbers, and then that just literally throws off your full week, and before you know it, you've scrapped a week when that could have been a week of another successful, progressively done well week, where you could have moved forward, but you've chosen not to because you've chosen the logbook to literally determine you just scrapping that full week off. I found after the kind of second or third rep, I got much more locked in because I knew where I was pushing towards, and you often find that on new movements, guys. As much as you're familiarised with the pattern of what you're doing, these machines move in so many different ways. So on something like a Nautilus shoulder press, it's so convergent that you are essentially starting out so wide, but coming in so close. But you're not even necessarily pushing straight up the way. You're pushing in an angle that you're coming out to pretty much the front of you. And it feels really nice, but you just need to be willing to work through them first initial hard couple of reps to really know the movement, and then from there we were flying. I think that's even what determined me being able to lock out the 7th and 8th rep, because they were fucking hard, but because I knew where I was pushing my hands towards, that allowed me to lock them out and take a productive set of 8 reps. Staying on an incline, so essentially coming from that higher incline just a little bit lower. Not really any need to do any sort of flat pressing today. We've already done that in our chest pressing session, our main chest focus session at the earlier part of the week, so that is why we're kind of focusing on this today. We're flying through these pressing movements now, no messing about. We obviously don't need as much warm-ups as what we would need at the start of the session, so again, that's definitely something, guys, that I get asked quite a lot with regards to how many warm-up sets you should do whenever you come into the gym. It's very important to know that at the start of the session you will have to do more warm-ups, just because your body will be tired, it'll be fatigued, it'll not be 100% ready to come in and just go straight in with, say, 2 warm-up sets before your immediate working set. So with that being said, come in, make sure you're warm. You will find that if you're jumping onto even an isolation movement before a compound, you will still need to warm up, and then on your first initial compound movements, so the bigger ones, the bigger barbell movements, you will need probably 2, 3, 4 warm-ups prior to any sort of first working set, just to make sure you're safe, make sure you're locked in, make sure you've got all the positioning correct. And from there, as you get deeper into the session, you'll find that you'll need less warm-ups. So maybe 1 warm-up, 2 warm-ups max, especially on them bigger movements as well. Make sure you're always warm before going into working sets, because trust me, you'll be safer and they'll feel a whole lot better. Whenever you're trying to put anything in here that's going to obviously allow you to get that first initial rep out of the hole a little bit easier on the joints, let's say. It's not really making things that much easier because you're still having to get that initial rep out of the way. But whenever you're doing that, guys, stop using rubber blocks, because you're literally only getting maybe half of the way out, which you would be as well just literally not putting anything out at all. Use plastic clips, because they'll always fall out. You can always be guaranteed of that. Sometimes what you find is with the rubber blocks, they do stick. So for example, you could push it out and the blocks could stick, so they won't move. So always be careful whenever you're putting things in here. I would always recommend clips, because with it being plastic, they'll always fall, they're not going to break anything, and at the same time you're confident that they're both the same, because what you tend to find is, again, it's very hard to get 2 rubber blocks that is the exact same, because with them being used a lot, they've been sponged in, they've been crushed in. But with clips, they're always going to stay the same, they're going to stay loyal to you, so always use clips.
Good.
I'm going to drop it.
Yep. Good, come on then. Yep. Come on then. Yes. I see it. Big one. Whoop. Ooh. Nice.
8 to 12. It's fine here, 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 and then from here to here, it's like it just doubles in weight, but it feels really nice. And something that, again, I've really focused on throughout this off-season when training my chest is obviously the feel, the purpose behind each and every movement. Focusing on really pushing my bicep in towards my chest to really be able to get it into that shortened position as much as I possibly can, even on a press, because it's very easy to get tangled up in the part of just going from here to here on a press and connecting with your chest, yes, but not as much as what you could. And with where I'm at now, even in my really, really, really heavy sets, I'm wanting to make sure that I am getting everything from my chest because it's a weak body part, it needs to come up. When I hit them side chest shots, I need them to be game over shots. And right now they're not there just yet. They are coming on, but we must keep improving, we must keep doing better. And that's definitely something that I've learned in this off-season, to take the most out of each and every press and movement to the absolute most of my capabilities.
And if you're a new trainer, if you're new to the gym, is that also what you should be focusing on?
If you're a beginner, absolutely not, because if you're a beginner, the ability to be able to train hard is and should be the goal. A lot of beginners now are getting tangled up in the part of they're just kind of jumping over that hurdle of learning to train hard and are just coming into all of these new movements, learning about biomechanics, learning the science behind everything, when actually what you need to learn first is building that skill to train hard. It's like going back and me telling you guys how I'm now able to get a lot out of just doing one set, but take me back 4, 5, 6 years, I was having to do maybe 3 or 4 sets to get what I'm getting out of one set now. So again, it's that ability to be able to train hard before training smart. Allow for that smart training to come when you need it. Guys, chest delts, finito, done. Really good session today. Again, using different pieces that I'm not used to, but at the same time in an environment that we come in, we give everything we've got, and that's all that matters. Things like auto-regulation, that's what we work with. We give what we've got on the day, and that's what matters. We make sure things like execution's on point, feel of each and every movement, purpose behind each and every movement. We make sure all of them's on point. And then aside of that, the weight is totally irrelevant, it doesn't matter. We lift as heavy as we can for the best sets that we can possibly perform. Last and final session in the dungeon was a good one. Now we're going to be moving on to where though. If anybody can guess, drop a comment down below. I don't know, by the time this video goes up we might probably have already been there, posted about 10 videos, but regardless of that, guess where we're going next, and we'll see you all in the next one.